We all do it, no matter how much of a wannabe angel you are. But we hate on some characters more than others. With some characters, they are so vile, so likable, that we can't help but curse their name and wish hell upon them. I'm Matt the Creative, your local madman obsessed with studying the ins and outs of creative writing, and today I'm going to show you how to write a truly hateable character. Also, be sure to join my free writing community. I have classes on writing that you can't get here on YouTube, and you get a free community of other writers with like minds. So moving on from my shameless plug, let's talk about making characters that grind your gears. Now, as easy as it is to identify a hateable character, creating them isn't so easy. There are a lot of pitfalls that you can fall into when trying to write these characters. And the first way to not make a hateable character is to just make them evil, especially just evil for evil's sake. We see this with many force of nature villains like the Night King from Game of Thrones and Sauron from War of the Rings. Those two characters are bad. Like, really, really bad. They pretty much want to destroy everything and anything, and they can't be reasoned with. The threat they also pose in their stories to the main cast is undeniable, with the Night King wanting to bring about the Long Night, which is pretty much just the genocide of everybody in Westeros. And Sauron wants to completely dominate all life on Middle-earth and bring them under his own hellish rule. But as their archetype implies, they are whole-ass forces of nature. Ain't nobody gonna try and talk to these niggas unless I, Matt the Creative, is walking up to these niggas for a grand showdown. Ain't nobody gonna try them. And that's the reason why these characters aren't usually the truly hateable villains. They are so far removed from petty emotions, like, it's hard to really identify them as humans. And when we see characters like this, we know that they are bad, but it doesn't make them hate them per se. And that's because, as I said, they're far too removed from humanity itself, due to them being so obviously instant evil. We can't just instantly just put them into like a hate this character box. But if you want to do that, you have to introduce what I call the human elements to your character. You see, when I think of a hateable person, I don't immediately go to like warmongers or tyrants or ghosts, but instead to snot-nosed brats who have yet to be humbled because something protecting them, like being the king, right, for example. Oh yeah, we going straight to Game of Thrones because I cannot think of another character who is so universally hated. Like seriously, everybody and their mother cheered when he died. And there's a lot to unpack with this character. I was straight up dying when he died. Well, when he died, I was about to die too. Like, I was about to literally just suffocate because I was laughing so hard at his demise. In his introduction, we see that because he's the prince, he uses his power to flex on some peasant butcher's son just because. He goes on to say that you're never going to be a knight, that even though him and the butcher's boy and Arya are just playing at being knights. They're literally minding their own business, not doing nothing. They're just being kids. And this nigga decides to show up and be like, I'm the prince. You're not on my level. You'll never be a king. Man, shut the fuck up. And when he gets checked by Arya, he starts flailing around his sword, and he gets Arya to the ground. Arya's wolf, Cujo, which I know isn't his name, but it's Cujo, a whole big ass dire wolf like that. Nah, that's Cujo. Cujo comes and checks him. And guess what? What does Joffrey do? Beg for his life like a little bitch boy. A sadist and a coward? That sounds like a good recipe for making a character we love to hate. Those whose demise we cry out to God for. I personally think hateable characters are made when characters exhibit trashy human behaviors, or these human elements that I was talking about earlier. Ones that we instinctively don't like: cowardice, treachery, unfounded pride, laziness. I believe that when you mix up these elements into a character's personality, that you can truly make a hateable character. You can also just make them kill and abuse a dog or a cat. That's a quick hack for you. People really do not like seeing cute animals get tortured and abused. I don't think I don't know where I found it from, but I actually think there was like some type of statistic that showed that like the number one thing that people hate to see on TV is like dogs getting abused. So use that as a nice little hack. Hateable characters also tend to work best at inducing rage into your audience when they are in a position of power, which prevents them from getting jumped the minute they step outside. Again, Joffrey is a prime example of this. At the beginning of the story, he's just some snot-nosed prince. He doesn't have any real authority until he becomes king, the most powerful man in Westeros. And when you give a huge amount of power to an already morally bankrupt individual, you once again have a character you love to hate. But looking even further, we can look at Joffrey's own personal goal in the show. And his main goal is to become a strong king and like one that people can look up to. And that's an admirable goal. Like I can respect the goal. But the way that he goes about the said goal is so wrong, corrupted, and twisted. Instead of being someone who is strong, admirable, and courageous, like Ned Stark, a man who puts the kingdom before himself, an honorable man, and who, when he passes the death sentence, he swings the blade himself. And he's a man who keeps his word. We liked Ned. But Joffrey beheaded Ned after promising to spare him to his daughter, and he has a lackey do it for him, mirroring Ned, and isn't a capable fighter at all. He's a bitch. He's a punk. He's a coward. We hate that nigga. He got punked by Arya before she became a badass in the later season. He's a total punk, and he wasn't strong. Wants to be a strong king. Fuck out of here. The corruption of values that we strive to be more like and seeing the worst in humanities are the key to making a hateable character. So in summary, in order to make a hateable character, you have to give them human elements. 2, you have to make them seemingly untouchable, force your audience to deal with. And 3, have them have reasonable, if not positive goals, but make them go about it in such a twisted and bad way. And that's all I have for y'all today. Comment on the character that you hate the most in the fiction. Like and subscribe. Join the community. And I'll see you in the next one.